Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to be exploring a very important part of the Ghanaian real estate sector. It is the section in which most people have to leverage in order to find a property to live in. And it is one that is riddled with difficulty, pain points, and systemic issues that can make the experience really painful. But today I want to explore what some of those pain points are, how to circumvent them, how to navigate them like a pro, and reduce potential overspend and heartache around the process. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so today we're going to look at some key pain points, some systemic problems in the rental space, the effect on renters and landlords alike, how Kuro can help, and some immediately implementable quick tips and tricks to make your journey a lot easier. Okay, so one key pain point, and the initial key pain point is around fake or misleading listings. You'll often find that some kind of bad actors in the industry may list old or very popular listing photos at very enticing prices to get you in the door and on a viewing. Now, why would they do that? Well, typically in Ghana, they can charge a viewing fee for sending you around to different properties, anywhere from 150 to 300 cities. And sometimes it can be per viewing, depending. It's very unregulated and unstructured. So in effect, some people can use this as a way to kind of earn their daily bread, listing properties that are no longer available or for some whatever reason, they are unable to access the property. So typical story that I've seen and one of my friends has gone through recently is he shortlisted probably about 20 properties, of which only 2 or 1 was actually real and available. And so it's quite a painful process. So the bait and switch tactic is pretty much more of a norm and not the exception. So it's something to watch out for. Okay, so the second pain point is around viewing fees itself, inherent costs being built into your overall search. So you could end up spending thousands of cedis just in your search itself if you're going off a lot of kind of online listings. Again, it could be anywhere between 150 and 300 cedis per viewing. And you're good luck in trying to get a refund. I mean, the best thing to do is just to refuse to pay, but that might make your day quite long. But even if it's not as advertised, it's still not something that people are prepared to refund you on. So systemically, it's a key pain point. Another key pain point is the multi-agent trap. So if you call more than one agent, you may pay more than one agent for the viewings. So you could go from one agent to another paying 250, 300 cedis on viewings. So it can be quite painful. One way that a colleague of mine, or not even colleague, my good friend, tried to get around this is having one agent and sending all interested listings to that person. And then what they would do is they would kind of negotiate their split with the co-agent on a particular property, for example, because it's a lot of kind of fee sharing and those kind of things that happen systemically in the Ghanaian real estate market. Another key pain point is around the post-rental support. I've seen some horror stories online around people's houses flooding and landlord just not present or available. It is a key pain point. So it's important to set out the parameters for your agreement and responses to issues, who's responsible for what as part of your tenancy agreement as well. And it's also important to have backup service providers of your own, because you don't want to wait a long time. If you have an issue with plumbing, you want to be able to resolve, and then you may have to take it up with your landlord after the fact. Moving on to some of the systemic problems around the industry when it comes to Ghanaian rental market. Agents fundamentally don't trust each other. It's like a shark tank when it comes to agents. So listings can be guarded or stolen. Even you'll find, and this is a tip I'll get onto later, you might find that agents build relationships with security guards to show properties, even if they don't have an agreement with the landlord. So you've got to be quite careful, because effectively that viewing fee will probably be split between the agent and the security guard. Security guards are a key stakeholder in this overall ecosystem. And despite the efforts of some organizations, I'm thinking about Gareb and Grepa, the regulation is not cemented as well as it needs to be. So pretty much anyone can wake up today and say, I'm going to be an agent. I know there's some players that are trying to rectify that, but that's a risk. So that kind of informality can be a curse. I will show you ways where you can turn it into a gift. We'll get onto that in a moment. So what does that mean in terms of the effect on people who are looking for properties and their experience? Well, it can be a very painful one. It can take many months to find the right property. And when you do find it, you'll have some negotiation to undergo because everything is negotiable in Ghana. It might be quite costly to actually go out and conduct the searches over time. Depending on what your price bucket is or the price ranges, the more competitive price ranges are on the lower end, let's say anywhere from 2,000 to, let's say, 10,000 cedis, because that kind of reflects I'm going to put it in pounds because that's what's easy for me to in mind right now. So that represents anywhere from 100 to 500 pounds, or maybe 150 to about $600. That is the arena where most people are looking. That is where the lowest time on market appears. Things will come off and on very quickly. I actually had a conversation with a really interesting guy who started a real estate platform to help student accommodation. And one of his number one pain points was around students just couldn't get access to what they wanted. And there was a huge supply of students and very few supply of student accommodation. And when it would come on and go quickly, there was no way to tell that it left the market. So that's why his venture didn't really work out well. But that's just to give you an idea. From a landlord perspective, there can be issues with, often the agents have to sort out the infighting if they've both kind of had a secondary introduction or what have you. People could be using your property as a way to lure in others, even though they don't have access to it, those kind of things. So it can be quite challenging. All is not lost, and it's not lost because there are a lot of people who are trying to rent their properties. So there has to be a degree of competitiveness and a degree of openness in getting deals done. And so let's move on to how Kuro could help you get those deals done. Okay, for this, I'm going to use my own example. So I was looking for a place to rent. One of the areas I wanted to look at, just out of interest, it wasn't the ideal location, but there are a lot of nice new developments that are emerging around Oyarofamens, so just south of Iburi, north of Abukobi. So what I wanted to check was, how much should I really be looking to pay? So let's go for Oyarafa more. Okay. So Oyarafa has a lot of available properties. Now, let's say for my purpose, I was looking at really houses, and the bedrooms was minimum of 2. Actually, let's just call it 3 bedrooms to be really specific. 3-bedroom properties in Oyarafa, okay? Now, let's go over and look at dollars. Now, to set the tone, I was propositioned with a brand new development, really nice. I'll talk about it in another video. And their pricing for a 3-bed townhouse was $1,600 a month. For me, it was bananas. And that was fully furnished, though, to be fair. Unfurnished was $1,100 a month. So even if you look at Kuro right now, you can see the median price for Yarafa is $384 a month. There's 159 records or data points that it's analyzed for houses between and 3 bedrooms. And the average price is $475. Now, if I look at the price overview, this is showing me that 93% of the market are under $1,000. So why is it that I'm being positioned with a $1,600 or $1,100 property? There's only 5, that's the top 5%. So immediately with what I could find in Kuro, I could see that actually there's a lot of supply, and most of that supply sits underneath $1,000. Okay. And even if I was to look at the trends to understand what's happening over time, you can see that, yes, Oyarafa is slowly on the increase, of quite unstable, but by and large on the increase. The recent times you started to see $320, $460 on the average, $517. So I should really be looking, even if I really wanted to splash out, no more than $700-800, but you would be positioned at 1,100 or 1,600 with people's intention to negotiate down further. But that's the kind of power that Kuro has. And I have it with me in my pocket when I do these searches. So it's helpful. And with the market analysis tool, we could say, okay, let's see how this price actually stacks up. So we were told 1,600, right? 3-bedroom house or Yarafa, high. Price indicator is extremely high. 67% above the average, 75% above the median, right? And it's just because it's a brand new development. It's very nice, don't get me wrong, but people try to get what they want to get. What I would say is that if somebody has bought from that development, so that 3-bedroom house was also, I think, selling for 225. So actually, let's look at for sales for a second. 225,000. That is also considered extremely high. So if you've picked it up for that amount, you're going to want to get your return. So that 1,600 is in line with what you've paid, but what you've paid is extremely high for the average in the market, which is almost half the price. Okay. So this is how Kuro can help you. Even have a yield calculator if it's helpful for that as well. So yeah, definitely on the price side, Kuro can support you to help you understand pricing, not only pricing, supply, type of supply, typical prices, so that you know that you're equipped. So things might be kind of nice and shiny, nice gates and all that kind of stuff, maybe a little few amenities inside, but is it worth paying potentially 75% more than a typical price? That's up to you and your objectives. But just so you're aware, this is how Kuro can help. Okay. We've spoken about the key pain points, the systemic problems, the effect on renters and other stakeholders in the industry, how Kuro can help. And I just want to leave you with a few tips and tricks to help your journey find a rental property a lot easier. Tip number 1 would be don't rent straight away if you can. Do something like Airbnb where your money is protected by the platform. It might be very expensive comparatively, but you could make an expensive mistake early on. So I would probably get an Airbnb or something to that effect for a period to understand what your routine is going to be like, especially with kids. Establish where your schools are going to be, or what kind of commute you'd want. I'd recommend for your own sanity, don't have more than a 20, 30-minute commute in Accra because the traffic can kill you. So I would establish an understanding of what your routine's going to be in order to get closer to where you'd want to be. For example, with us, Oyarif was just an option because we saw the types of developments that were coming up. But in terms of the traffic on that kind of Adenta or Yarafegon road, is it the N1? I think it's N or the N4. I can't remember. That would be a nightmare in the morning trying to get kids to school. So we needed to be closer to town. And looking at Kuro, we could definitely beat the price that was on the nice shiny development being closer to town. So establish your routine, understand what you need before you select your location. Number 2, drive around the location. You often find sometimes people put for rent signs on buildings or developments when they're looking to rent a property. And you can even look at the different developments and just ask the security guard, is anything for rent in the building or in the development? And they typically always know. So my next tip is get friendly with the security guards because they typically know every owner, probably have their number, and you can get direct contact with an owner and eliminate some potential agent fees, which can be up to 10% of the overall rent. Now, if you save them 10% on their side, because it's doubly charged normally, 10% on the landlord, 10% on the renter. So if you can remove that, it's a good tool for negotiation. So stay close to the landlords. Yeah, I think my next tip would be to negotiate, and have the data available to you to make sure you can negotiate. Get the data, check, have some comparables, have other options so that you always have some degree of leverage in the negotiation. Another tip I would have, if you're going to use an agent, try and use one. Show them the ones you like and let them go and do the work to find them and make sure that they check out. Because if you're going to pay one, let them work for their payment. That would be it for now. I think this is just another aspect of the industry that needs some degree of reform. So I hope that video was useful. If you like this video, I'm sure you'll like this one too. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.